Hello, good afternoon, Tamara Cashour. How are you? We
Pretty
are live.
good. Oh,
So,
nice to
how's
see you.
everything?
Things are good. The sun just came out about 10 minutes ago. So,
Yeah,
well,
very nice.
clouds.
So, where are you physically?
So that's a good omen. I'm in the state of Maryland at the moment, and it's a cold January day, but it's January, not July. So we expect these things, and it's quite beautiful, actually. The sky is clear and seemingly pollutionless. So
That's
that's
nice.
fine for me.
Yeah. So nice have you here. So let me introduce to our audience. Who are you? I have a short version of your biography. I'm going to read a little bit about it. Um, Tamara Cashour. Is Cashour how I say your last name?
There's this eternal discrepancy. In the South, people say cash hour. In the North, they say cashour. So either way, you cash hour, just go for it. Perfectly.
Okay, Cashour. Great. Um, yeah. So, Tamara Cashour is an award-winning ASCAP composer of chamber music, chorale music, musical theater, opera, solo piano, and organ music, and theater incidental music. Her awards include Bronx BRIO Award in Musical Composition, IAWM 2015 International Online Conference featured score and first place in the feminist uh, for women only composers competition. Cashour's compositions have premiered in New York City, nationally and internationally in such venues as the Mena Center for Classical Music, Symphony Space, St. Peter's City Corp Center, True Lands One Voice Festival in Rome, Italy, European American Musical Alliance in Paris, France, Columbia University, New York University, National Opera Center, Theater Lab, and many other places. So you can check her website in the description below. So welcome, Tamara.
Thank you.
So yes, so let
Thank you for having me.
oh, you're very welcome. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your upbringing. I always like to know my guests how they where they grew up, how they began to learn music, stuff like that.
I'm sure it's not a very strikingly original upbringing, but I grew up in suburban Maryland, um, and did regular things like suburban kids did. As far as my musical training, I do remember my mom telling me a story of me being quite young and taking little recordings and putting them on a little record player. This is dating myself, of course, but well, you get to be a certain age, you date yourself. And I used to sing along constantly. So I was, I guess, at first a singer. This would be under 2 years of age. And I think my mom was instrumental in recognizing that I did have some musical talent. Um, but I used to play on my grandparents' piano, just pick out tunes and, for what it was worth. And I started my musical training in the public schools, like many children, I suppose, on the clarinet of all instruments. Um, my cousin, if she's listening, Sharon, had been playing the clarinet and she had moved on to something else. And so bequeathed this clarinet to me. And I just really took to it. I really learned the theory. I think that the musical theory, for some reason, was quite interesting to me, even at that young age. And later took up piano and did, pretty much the gamut, sang in the high school. I was in both chorus and band in my high school. And then when I graduated, went on to be a piano major. In my second semester as a piano major, I was told by the composition teacher at the school that I did have a talent for composition, but chose to ignore it. At that point in my life, I wanted to be a performer and an accompanist, and I had already been making some professional money credits, had some credits at that time when I was in university. So I did not do a lot of composing except in theory class, and that sort of came much later when I was able to sort of step back a little and assess my performing career and realize I had been jotting down these ideas, these musical ideas on theory paper. And I went to that file cabinet one day and I was like, you know what, I have a stack of ideas here. Maybe I'll just write a song or, something. And I did. I wrote this very crazy song to an Emily Dickinson poem, a well-known poem, Wild Nights, and the song itself is it's on my website, so people can go and look at it. But the song itself is a kind of a wild piece, and septuplets all over the place, and very, very intricate for the piano. And that was actually all the way. Let's see, it was in 2006. And at that point, I joined a group in New York, the New York Composers Circle, great group of composers, and was accepted into the group. And then from that point, furthered my training and did, have the career that I have now. So sorry, I didn't know. I went kind of beyond childhood.
So, no, that's good. That's good. Yeah, thank you.
Story
so, yeah, so our today's this live talk show, our main focus actually is on your latest work, is a video project. You and your ensemble and Brian also Mountford is involved in this project. Should we bring Brian on? I think he has the file now.
Yeah, I'd love to see Brian if he's
okay.
If he's...
Here, Brian. How are you?
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So now, should we talk about this premiere of your video project, video and music and choral music, and with very interesting other elements such as bird sound, such as other instrument, electronic sound, or other things. So yeah, can you please tell us a little bit about your project? So, and then we're going to watch the video.
Oh, good. Sounds good. Yes, the title of the project is Forbearance, which is, I'm sure everyone, I'll spell it out, Forbearance, which is a poem by the essayist, the American essayist, Ralph Waldo Emerson. I came across the poem, not exactly by accident, but it was in my inbox one day. I think I'm a member of one of those poem a day clubs, and I happened to see this poem in the box that day. There's actually a huge backstory. I don't know if you want me to go into it. The year was 2018, about almost 3 years ago, and unfortunately the United States was experiencing a rash of mass shootings, and it was March of 2018, which was just after the February 14th shooting that year that occurred down at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School in Florida, in Parkland. And my original intent was to write a piece as a dedication to those students whom I so greatly admired for their courage, the ones who became activists. And I think they actually were very instrumental in getting a law passed, raising the ownership age for AK-47s from 18 to 21 or something like that. I think those students were directly responsible through their activism. And I was so impressed with these students. But I, like many composers, I was sitting looking at a blank screen one day, and I was just, really not anywhere in terms of getting this piece composed. The weekend before, I had been to an opera in New York about Pablo Neruda, and a good friend of mine, Margaret O'Connell, a wonderful mezzo, was appearing at that opera, which was being done at Symphony Space. And I was in the back row, and I was listening as the singers were going along, and I heard the word bullets. And of course, that oriented me toward the shooting. And I thought, let me go. I couldn't get the rest of the text. So I came back home and I Googled Pablo Neruda, and I found that there is this line from the poem. Let's see, what is the poem? It's something about I need to tell you a few things. And it's a very sort of a common name for a common name for a poem. It's called I'm Explaining a Few Things, which is sort of a mundane title for a very serious subject, which the poem was to, it was actually Neruda's response to the fascist bombing of Guernica, like the painting by Pablo Picasso. So the line that I became very fascinated with, which was very timely at the time. Sorry, I'm having to look at my computer to read you this line. And it says, let's see if I can find it. And from every crime, bullets are born, which will one day find the bullseye of your hearts. So I kind of ruminated about that line and thought, there's some connection there to what's going on today, meaning 2018. And I went back to Googling, and as the internet would have it, I Googled Pablo Neruda again, and up came Pablo Casals. I thought the internet is telling me, oh, maybe you really want information about Casals. So I clicked on a couple of those links, and I came upon the video of Casals playing the Song of the Birds. And that and the Emerson poem in the inbox, I kind of let it cook for a couple of days. And then I came up with this idea to write, to use Emerson's poem, but as inspired by the Casals song. I think it's El Cantes a Cels, and the Neruda poem. So that's basically the genesis. I'm leaving out many details, but
Yeah. So Brian, you have anything to add on to that, please?
Yes. Well, just so that viewers have some orientation on what they'll be seeing, I think, as Tamara was saying, on the one hand, there's the text, which is about forbearance. Emerson is talking about the importance of living your life in an authentic, restrained way, where you're, say, not putting your wealth on display, and you're not, you're just kind of living right and humbly. Maybe humility is kind of forbearance. You're forbearing from doing things that a person with too big an ego might do. Instead, you're acting right. And then the other layer is you'll hear a bunch of bird sounds. You'll hear the chorus. I'm a member of C4, and we were the people that Tamara approached to do the choral parts and the bird call sounds. So we're doing some bird imitations. And I think the link is that there's a certain connection between people who go up throwing their weight around and people who go out into the forest and just shoot all the birds. I'm sure it's more complicated than that, but the idea is to have a certain sense of balance and harmony, both in terms of how you live your life and how we live our lives globally on this planet. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes,
so the composition is involve a video, involve Tamara's music, involve about I was counting like how many singers, 8 or 10, how many?
I
That's
think
quite
the actual we only have videos of a few of them, but
two of
the
them.
number of singers that you hear is probably 15 or so.
I see. So on the video, yeah, and I try to count, and maybe eight of them, 8 of you guys, and yeah, and then you have nature, and um, so it's kind of like a multimedia um, project,
Mhm.
right?
Right. So we recorded the audio first and mixed that, and then we took some videos of some of us singing and did the bird calls, and took some videos of us doing the bird calls, and then we sent them all to our good friend video engineer Mark Miller in Texas, who mixed the video together and put in the titles and all of that.
Yeah.
if I could just add one little tidbit to the point of the title of the poem, Forbearance, as Brian has said, forbearance means to exercise patience and self-control in terms of possibly committing an act or effecting a desire that ultimately may not be for the good of all. So the link between you will hear in the electronics portion of this piece, you will hear some gunshots. That's just, I say that as a little warning. And so the allusion to picking up a piece of technology and really just having at it, whereas the poem urges the exact opposite of that. So I think, Brian, would you agree with that? And if you'd like to add, please do.
No, that sounds like
And
a perfect description of it.
and also, yeah, and the Casals quote that I have at the beginning of the piece is also, the birds in the sky sing of peace, peace, peace. So there's all these little iconic things that are floating around, and it was my job to try and connect them. And I hope I did. I should just let the piece speak for it.
Sure. So Brian, you wanted to show us the video from your end?
I'm gonna attempt to share it.
Yeah.
Let me know if you hear the audio. If you don't, I'll have to try and do something else, because obviously it's not much good without the audio.
Yeah.
All right.
There is a button that says audio. You have to click that.
Great. All right. So do you see the thing? All right. Where's the audio button, you say?
It's supposedly when you share, there is a button.
Okay. Well, I didn't see it. Let's try it. And
okay, so why don't you play? Yeah, let's see if we have it.
Do you hear bird sounds?
I can see the screen, but I can't hear it.
Can't hear it. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna stop then, and I'm gonna my audio. Sorry. Nope.
So
stop sharing and start.
Tamara, did you say you put it on YouTube? Do you have the link?
There's a link. I did send it to you guys.
Can you just send the link to me right now in the private chatting? There's a private chat in our chat. Can you see? Or you can just send to me whichever way it's convenient for you. Yeah.
Okay. Hold on just a second.
If Brian's thing doesn't work.
Yeah, I will also send you the link.
Oh, okay.
It's always the technology, right? It's the technology.
Yeah.
That's right. It's all technology's fault.
Did you send to my email?
That was one of my ideological goals with this piece, but just a sec here.
Okay. I see it.
You see the link? Okay.
I see the link. Yeah. Good. I see the link. So.
Okay. So you have the link.
Yeah. I'm going to put it here.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I have the links. Good.
I have it too if you need it again, but
okay. Yeah. No, I'm good. So I go back to here and sorry, I do screen share. So okay, Chrome, I see it. Share. Good. All right. Okay. Do you see it?
I see. Yep. I see the title. There it is.
Okay. I'm gonna take us off.
Thanks.
Hast thou named all the birds without a gun? Hast thou named all the birds without a and British tales in British on the station with a heart of trust, and love so well a high behavior
In man,
or maid,
in man or maid,
or maid.
and love so well a high behavior.
I love so well a high behavior.
In man or maid that thou from speech refrain. In man or maid, love so well that thou from speech refrain.
Nobility Teach me, oh my friend. Forbear, forbear, forbear.
Bravo.
Thank you. Thank you, C4.
Yes.
Thank you for
C4,
giving us
yeah.
a chance to
You guys sound
participate in
great.
the project.
So,
Right.
tell
Was
us.
that- Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Tell us a little bit about C4, please.
Well, sure. So C4 is a New York-based new music ensemble. We do only pieces that have been written in the last 25 years. So most of the composers are still living, though a few have passed away. But we like to do the modern stuff. That includes many pieces that we write ourselves. A number of the people in the chorus are composers, and we sing some of our own pieces as well as pieces by other people. And then we're a collective, meaning we don't have a single music director. Instead, we do that committee approach that always takes forever to get anything done, but results in having a lot of input from everybody instead of having just one person who tells everybody what to do. We have conductors, different conductors for different pieces instead of just having one. So we're attempting to bring a sort of radical democracy to the choral world, which is not something that you always find. So it's a combination of that and then loving the new music that kind of makes us unique. Well, so that leads me to my next point. We're not exactly unique. We're one of the first choruses in this mold, but there are now several of them around the country. There's one in Boston, Triad. There's one in LA, C3LA. They are, let's see, what's it called? Infinitus in Florida. I'm forgetting the one in Washington, D.C. Hopefully they can remind me what the name is. And then there's one in Austin, Texas, the Inversion Ensemble, which has many of the same emphases in terms of doing new music and being a little more collective in nature. And we've been partnering with the Inversion Ensemble in particular to do a number of live stream concerts in the last few months. So when Tamara approached us with this project, we again partnered up with members of Inversion Ensemble. So when you see that list of singers at the end, it's about half C4 and half Inversion Ensemble. So we were, normally that would be hard to have a chorus in New York and a chorus in Texas working together on a project, but when it's all virtual, it doesn't even matter. So it worked out just fine.
Yeah, very interesting. So, what does C indicate?
It stands for the Choral Composer Conductor Collective.
4 of them.
It's hard to remember. Yes, that's why it's C4. And of course, C4 also is a note on the piano keyboard.
Hmm,
I was not in the group when it was first founded, but the
yeah.
apocryphal story is that when the leader, one of the founding members, proposed that we call ourselves C4, someone said, well, C4 is also explosive.
Mm.
And he said, perfect. So that's another possible meaning of the name, if you want.
Yeah, very nice. I wanted to thank some audience members with us. Thank you, Yukiko. Yukiko is my neighbor and also my co-chair for workshop I do for my neighbors to volunteer group. She's a techie, so she's like telling us when you share your screen, you should click a small box. So thank you, Yukiko. We did it, and then we have Wanta Seymour commented us for your videos as nice, and we have a Janet Paulson, very powerful. She said, "Great work." So they are probably friends of yours. Yeah. So Tamara, now how does this whole collaboration to you working? Was it smooth or was it like challenge because you have many elements of video and sound and image and like who did these shots of the birds?
Okay, well, I'm just going to first of all profusely thank Brian because he really spearheaded the whole project. He took over the helm and did, I think, a very organized job. Of course, it was all done, as we've all been saying, virtually because of the COVID pandemic. This was originally to be performed live, right? So that the audience would actually see singers or bird callers doing these calls as it were. We were able to get a few of them into the film. We had a lot of stuff to kind of get in there, but I'm going to let Brian talk about that process from page to stage, as they say. I know it started with me making a music MXL file that he then processed and then gave to singers who then recorded their parts. But I actually I'm going to let Brian take that from my little preamble here. But I still have a question, Brian. The parts were the people the personnel that we do see in the film also doubled some other lines, correct? Or they were singing more than one line in terms of a vocal line. Is that what you had said?
So I think this is not uncommon for virtual choir projects.
Right.
I always wish you had more tracks. And of course, it's probably true live too, but you can't really double yourself live. But when you're doing a virtual choir project, for instance, I sang both the bass line and the tenor line, and several other people did likewise. So although I counted the number of singers in the credits, and there were 16 of us independent people, but you'll hear more than 16 lines in the audio because some of us were doing more than one part. So there's more like 25 total parts being sung if you count each individual line.
Yeah, interesting. When you have everybody to do that, technically, may I ask, like, what equipment do all of you use? Do you use the same thing or same software?
I was just
So,
ask that.
so go
Very
on, Tamara.
curious about what everybody used to record their individual part.
So the audio is easier in some ways because audio is not as gigantic as video. So what we did was we started with that music XML file that you gave me, and I massaged it and made a chorus only computer version. And then I had in Finale, the music notation program, I had Finale play the piece, and I recorded that. So we had the computer rendition, and then I sang the bass and tenor lines, and we had a woman who sang the soprano and alto lines, and we mixed those in so that we had a guide track composed partly of someone singing each of the lines and also the computer doubling that. And then we sent that to everyone, and they could record their track in conjunction with it. And people there are a number of digital audio workstations that will let you do this sort of recording. GarageBand is one. Reaper is another one. There are a number of different ones. So we actually made up sample projects in GarageBand and Reaper and a couple others in case people wanted to use those. So for the GarageBand project, for instance, you would see the computer lines and then our singing lines, and then there'd be a blank track at the bottom where you could sing your own line. And when you were done, you just sent that thing back to us, and I took everyone's contributions and had one gigantic GarageBand project and mixed everything together to make the audio track just of the choral part. So that's how we went ahead and did the choral section.
Wow.
And then, so that was the first thing to do because it seemed like it was a good base to work from. And then while we were doing the bird call stuff, I had some of the people record videos lip syncing to the audio, so that we'd have chorus videos as well. Then we attacked the next part of the project, which was the bird calls. There are about 35 bird calls in the piece. And so we made a big spreadsheet and had different people volunteer to do different calls. The bulk of them were done by a couple people, Perry Townsend and Adrian Inglis, who did great work. You'll see Adrian in a lot of the footage there, using a little twister thing and her ocarina and all of that. She did a lot of them, and Perry did a lot of them, and I did a few, and a few other people. So then we recorded those, and we recorded some videos of ourselves doing those as well. And then we took all of this stuff, the audio, the video, stills of the birds, and our ideas on how to put it together, and we gave it to Mark Miller, who is a friend of the Inversion Ensemble people in Texas. And he took all that stuff and over the course of a month, just arranged everything and put in all the title screens and did everything that was needed to turn it into a finished video.
Wow. Wonderful. So, yeah, Tamara, what are you going to say?
I'm just going to say they did a great job of mixing that all together. I don't know the first thing about these kinds of technologies. Well, maybe I know the first thing, but beyond that, no. And I'm sure that was it was a wealth of work, and they did it completed it in a timely manner. And I'm just very grateful that they took this project on and really did a great job.
So do you have any other plans, what to do with this work? Like, are you going to play in some functions, or are you just going to leave it on your YouTube, or can you apply for some kind of festival that accepts music and image and original work?
Yeah, well, we're first going to get it up on YouTube. Well, it's there. It's there now for all the world to see. I myself am a friend. I don't know what you would call it. Not exactly a patron, but I'm familiar with several conservation groups, and some of them. One of them I'd like to mention because I've been going out there for many years now, and that's the Quogue Wildlife Reserve out on Long Island. They take in injured animals, and I love visiting QWR, as I call it. They have some hiking trails there and lakes. And so what I plan to do is to try and maybe broach specific bird conservation organizations. In fact, if you go to my website and look under Forbearance World Premiere, there should be a tab you can click on. I've mentioned maybe about 20 conservationist groups, and I'd like to, and there are two right in the Bronx area that engage not specifically in bird conservation, but in general conservationist efforts toward nature, and that would be the Bronx Botanical Gardens and also Wave Hill. So I would like to
That's your website.
thanks. Yeah, thanks for putting that up. Perhaps
Where does it go when you say go
let's
somewhere?
see. Click on. I'm using my iPad here. Click on for viewers. They click on conservation websites. It's the under World Premiere. It's the third tab down. And
Okay.
there's a shaky film. That's me
Yeah.
taking that film. But
This?
people can scroll through there. And of course, the major organization is the Audubon Society. I recommend that people start there if they do want to learn about how they can help these conservation efforts, which was indeed one of my ideological points in composing this piece. But yes, I'd like to, some of these organizations do have concerts. They have concert series, and perhaps this would be a good fit, perhaps not. But I plan to try and do the legwork for that to see if it would be a useful artistic and consciousness raising endeavor to some of these organizations.
Right. There's quite a few of organizations out there, huh? Like, look at that.
This doesn't even begin to exhaust the list. I mean, these are basically personal favorites of mine.
Okay.
And in various different locales.
ebird.org, and then you have how do you say that? QUOGUE.
Wildlife Refuge, yeah.
Yeah, and then you have a Sandy Hook State Park, yeah.
Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
I love Sandy Hook.
Nice.
It's a prime birding destination for birders, bird watchers.
Yeah.
And a beautiful, beautiful area.
So while we are right now on your website, do you want me to show our audience anything else?
Just let's see. Just in terms of forbearance, I basically listed printed the poem. There's a bit of historical analysis, which is the second tab down. That's me trying to explain Rage Against the Anthropocene. I'm a fan of these big terms, but just to give people a little bit of background. As to how this composition might fit into a larger matrix of action and thought for the 21st century. I was going to try to get this in here somehow, but I do think one of the challenges for the 21st century going forward is to really try and look at our relationship with animals and non-human beings on the earth, and to try to look at how we can make that more positive, whether it's, I don't know, for some people that means, being a vegetarian. For others, it means, becoming a veterinarian or something, but how we can sort of have a universal, not an ideology, but an approach to a more positive and symbiotic, is that the word I'm looking for, relationship to these other species that wander in and amongst us, that doesn't involve just eliminating them, that involves living with them in a positive and mutually beneficial manner. So I guess I got off track.
Yeah. So one of our audience is asking if if she can see the video. Where is the video link you plan to give? Do you have a link you want to share with them?
Yeah, the link that we just saw up on YouTube is not yet on my website, but I will put it there as soon as this chat is over.
Yeah,
I will put the link to the film so that people can view it, and it is public. I think it's
okay.
public
Yeah.
video.
And
So-
I was visiting your website, and you have on your very homepage, you have a lovely video is you and your bird.
Oh,
Who is that bird?
talking about the parrot.
Yes.
Yeah, the little parrot. If you scroll down, that I have that's not my bird.
Oh, okay.
Literally,
I thought it's yours.
I'm breaking my laws. Goodness. I just fell in love with this little video. I was just, Googling around, noodling around, and I saw this talking parrot and put him up there. But I don't know the owners, and I don't know this bird, but I think he's doing a wonderful job of. He just received a new toy, right? His new little.
Yeah.
I guess he's a little puzzled why the bunny's not talking back to him. But
I thought you shoot this thing, or your family shoot you, with the bird. It's funny.
No. But
Okay.
I would love to credit the family to who is so graciously caring and owning this bird and caring for this bird. It's just a little guy.
Yeah. So, now we heard a little bit about Tamara's background. So, Brian, can you tell us a little bit about your background, please?
Sure. So by day, I'm a computer programmer, but I've always had an interest in music from when I was a kid, and I took music classes in college, and then sort of did a little bit of. I was sort of a music major after I had finished my engineering training in a complicated way. And so I've been singing in a couple choruses in New York, both C4 and also the New York City Master Chorale. And then I am a composer sometime as well. So some of the things that C4 has done have been by me. As you can imagine, with this confluence of the music and the technology, it has led to me being one of the go-to people in the group when we're doing these virtual choir projects. And then also during the pandemic, we've been doing these live streams where we all get together in real time on the computer and sing together and try and make it work despite the delay and latency that you get on the internet. And we've actually gotten pretty good at being able to do certain pieces. If it's a fast piece, you need a click track that hopefully the audience won't hear to keep you going. But if it's a slow piece and you set your settings right and you're kind of ready for it, we're going to experiment at our next live stream, which is a week from next Thursday. We're going to be doing a piece without a click track. We're just going to be watching the conductor and trying to sing, and there's going to be rubato. It's going to be as real time as we can make it. And we think it will, it won't be as precision perfect as you might expect if you were to go hear something in person, but we think it'll be pretty good. So I've been involved in those efforts because they require some technological mumbo jumbo in order to make that work.
Yeah. Wow, that's nice. So nice. Yeah. So Tamara, your primary instrument is piano, right?
Correct. Yes. I'm a trained singer, but I don't sing as much anymore.
Yeah.
But yes, primarily.
So how is this whole crazy pandemic influence both of you in artistically, creatively? is it has been a difficult thing, or for Brian, you're a tech person, you utilize these, remote way of, making music. But how do you feel, Tamara? How is your journey in the last, say, I would say about 10 months, right? We've been in this lockdown.
I'll tell you, by the way, I left out a crucial part of my life, which is that I'm also an organist. Yes, and
Wonderful.
Organ. You can
Yeah.
compose at the organ, right, with all of your instruments there. But yeah, I have to say, when COVID hit, it's been a year, right? It's been about a year. I thought
almost.
I would be
Yeah,
more
10 months.
Yeah. I thought that, some of my jobs shut down and others kept going. And I thought that I would be a little more creative than I was. I have some composer friends who really got to work, and they were just, churning out, a piece a day or something, maybe not that fast, but for the first 3 months, I was very stymied. I guess I was quite worried about the situation, and I have a family member who is a high risk person, so I didn't really, start composing, just as a go-to. I pretty much used the time to reflect a lot. And I resisted the urge. I know there were a lot of calls. A lot of calls went out in the trades for pieces that were pandemic related, and I thought, I didn't. If I don't feel it, right, I didn't feel the urge to compose a pandemic themed piece. Perhaps I will later on, but yeah, it kind of not blindsided me, but the pandemic affected me quite deeply, and I did go internally and do a lot of ruminating, and some good has come of that. I actually have started a sonata, and so I've got a few measures down toward that. But
sonata for what? For
piano. And piano, and I don't know, maybe another instrument if I can sort of work out the form from where I am right now. But
right.
So yeah, that was my story. It's not a very interesting one, I'm afraid. I'd like to be, I had all this time and could sit down and really focus, but I didn't really. So, but there's always going forward. So
Right. So Brian, what about you? You had you always have a job, not like the rest of the musicians.
Yeah, it's an odd world to be a computer programmer, because really it hasn't made that much difference. We're all working from home, and we've been told that we'll be working from home at least through September. So it's actually, a lot of my life is not any different. And my apartment is pretty commodious. I moved into an apartment that was a little too big for me, I thought, and then it turned out to be the perfect size once it turned out that I was going to be working and living in it all the time. I have used the opportunity to do a little more piano composition as opposed to choral compositions. C4 was actually slated to perform a piece that I wrote at our concerts on Thursday and Saturday. And we had a dress rehearsal on Tuesday, and we called off the dress rehearsal the day of the dress rehearsal and then canceled the concerts. So we were about to do a piece of mine. And since that time, I haven't really written that much in terms of choral music. I guess I did write a piece for us to do in our live stream concerts, but I've sort of focused on the piano because maybe the same as Tamara, it's something you can control. You don't need the rest of the world. You just sit down at your instrument and write it. And like Tamara, of course, I haven't done as much composition as I wish, but I have made significant progress on a set of piano pieces that I was working on already. And, you know, you never get around to those things, but now there's a lot more opportunity to just go up and play the piano and make some forward progress. So I feel lucky and blessed. I know there's a lot of people with a lot of problems going on these days due to the pandemic and other reasons. So I feel pretty lucky to be able to say, oh, I wish the pandemic had been a transformative experience, taking my artistry to the next level. Really, if I can say, oh, I'm muddling along the same as I ever was, then I think I'm probably doing pretty well on average.
Yeah, very nice. Yes. So I want to share a little bit about what I have done in the pandemic. Since March 27th, I even remember the date. I started to have this talk show online because I cannot see my friends. I'm a strong supporter for Andrew Yang for his presidential candidate in 2020. So I have a lot of friends through that circle called Yang Gang. So I started to interview them first, and then that transformed into interviewing individual artists, politicians, specialists. You know, I interview my family too. You know, I interview my husband, my child, my old teacher. You know, very famous violist Kim Kashan. So today, you guys are my 83rd episode. I did 83rd times. Yeah, so that's my work. Yeah. Oh, I finished I have to brag about that. I finished my feature documentary I've been working on for 6 months. So about Andrew Yang and about Yang Gang, about people who support him. So it's a lot of work. So, but I can't go anywhere. So I was just editing on my little laptop and it's down, and I gotta actually, I made it a finalist. I don't know how I did it. So it's called New York Cinematographer Awards. So I made a finalist of that award. So anyway, wish me good luck getting some more film festivals. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, thank you. So Tamara, so you want to talk about, we have about 10 minutes. You want to talk about some other works you want to mention? Your composition or your previous work or some work?
Well, you know, you mean works other than Forbearance?
Yeah. Do you have anything other works you want to talk about? You want to tell us, or stuff on your website or on your YouTube? You have a YouTube channel, right?
It's so funny. I am call myself a sono techno confuso. I'm not technically as astute as our friend there. So I think I might even have 3 YouTube channels, but I have a main one. I guess it came from logging on with different emails. But so yeah, some of my other works are on there. I guess where I stand now as a composer, I had gotten into a groove of composing in a form that I kind of kept repeating the form, which was like a suite. In other words, an entire composition, but in 6 movements or in 7 movements. I've written maybe 5 pieces in that format, and I have as a goal for myself as a composer to kind of break free, as it were, from that particular format. I do have a piece called Queen Suite for violin, viola, harp, cello, and harp that won an award, an international award, and I love that piece, and that was kind of a blueprint for other pieces. So if people want to go onto my website, feel free. A lot of the videos are on there. But just in terms of my future goals, I am really trying to break new ground in terms of form. I've always been kind of overly obsessed with form, and that, Forbearance represented a kind of maybe a timid step, I don't know, of trying to break free of the usual choral format. And I knew that I didn't have the expertise to copy someone like the Messiaen, the formidable Messiaen, who worked with bird sounds and making them sing through the various orchestrations and instrumentations that he used. So, but yeah, I don't know. Does that answer your question? I don't really have. I guess.
How do you describe your style? Do you have like a couple of sentences about your style? You're not atonal though.
No.
Right.
I'm not atonal. I'm primarily a tonal.
Yeah.
If you have to, start putting
category.
One tonal song. Well, I mentioned it previously. The Wild Nights, the Emily Dickinson verse. That was one of the very first pieces that I really wrote, and it was. I thought, wow, if I'm going to go in this direction, and then I kind of pulled back from that. Here's one thing that I do try to maintain as a composer. It's really hard to please all the levels of musicianship out there, right?
Right.
I try to keep a portion of my pieces accessible, but still maybe technically, I don't want to say challenging, that sounds like a cliche, but that they would have some technical and aesthetic ping to them, and also be accessible to maybe someone who is not a trained musician. And again, there's so many levels, from the non-reader to Carnegie Hall people, etc. So this issue of accessibility is important to me. And if I could just say one thing, I'm hogging the stage and then I'll let Brian speak, but Forbearance, one of my concerns was that it's a socially conscious piece. Right now, this is the thing, right? If God forbid you're writing a piece about, I don't know, having a party, which is not socially conscious, I would not think, but how to keep that kind of music, which has its grassroots, right, in folk music, right? That's the social activism, I think, was more or less born in that genre of music. I could be totally wrong, and of course there are examples from classical music, but how to keep the musical values strong, how to keep the accessibility in the piece toward a fairly good range of audience members, so that they do get your message of social consciousness, but not in a trite way. So maybe going forward, that would be something that I will have to keep in the back of my mind, if not in the forefront. Okay, Brian, you should say something.
So Brian, what do we have any pleasure of hearing excerpts of your music?
Well, so if you go, mainly I'll just direct people to our website, which is c4ensemble.org. So
I think I have it right here. Is this your website? Wait. Oh, you cannot see it right now. So I have to go. No. I have to. Yeah. Okay, keep talking. Sorry.
Yeah. So if you go to c4ensemble.org,
Yeah, I have it here.
not only can you see the
C4.
information about our upcoming live stream concert.
Ta-da! Right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
us.
Okay.
But if you go to the, I think it's called gallery or media or something, you should be
Oh.
able to see some videos.
Gallery.
And some of those videos are, at least one
Press.
of them that I can remember is a piece that I wrote. It's up there somewhere.
Remote. Post. Media.
Yeah, okay.
Listen or watch.
No, watch. If you watch,
Okay.
you can see, I think one of those
Watch.
is one of
which
my
one?
pieces. It's, if you keep scrolling down.
Okay.
Where is it? Ah, there it is. It's the one on the lower right there that has a picture of a cathedral that's actually.
Oh, this one?
Yeah,
This
that one is that's the main gate of Greenwood Cemetery that's been processed. I went to Greenwood Cemetery because I used to live in Brooklyn, not too far away, and I took some footage. I don't want to drag people through it right
just listen
now,
to a little bit.
Okay.
I hear the bells.
Yeah, it's a glockenspiel.
Oh, say it again.
It's a glockenspiel.
I never know how to pronounce that. Glockenspiel. Cool.
And then I used my programming skills to make these images to go along with it.
Oh, cool.
I love the graphics. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
I was pretty happy with it. Anyway, so if people are interested, they can just go to c4ensemble.org and see that and many other crazy videos and listen to us and donate to us and
donate.
Audition to sing with us. We're always looking for new members.
Yeah.
Join the C4 revolution.
Right. Thank you. That's wonderful. So, thank you so much. For those of you, we still have nine people here, which is nice. For those of you who are with us, listening to us, please subscribe Juhl Media, my YouTube channel. I'm a pretty serious YouTuber. And also subscribe Tamara's YouTube channel. And Brian, do you have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, you can get, I mean, again, if you go to the website, it will, then go to the videos, it'll direct you to our YouTube channel. So
okay. Go to C4, right? Not
go
like
to c4ensemble.org and then you can subscribe to our channel and
please. Yeah. The least we could do is to subscribe each other, right? It doesn't cost us any money. Yeah. So thank you so much. And so why don't we just have a how about Brian and Tamara? Why don't you have a closing statement? Just before we leave to each other. How about start with Brian, please?
Sure. Just thank you to Tamara for giving us the opportunity to work on this. It's too bad that it couldn't be a live event, but I'm glad that instead we have this nice video. And I didn't say this before, but we have actually, C4 has sung one of Tamara's pieces in the past. We did a concert of pieces by the New York Composer Circle, and one of them was by Tamara, and that was a quite enjoyable piece. So I hope we have a chance sometime in the future to do another of your pieces.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian, and to the intrepid members of C4 for taking on this piece. I realize it might not be, to everyone's cup of tea, but thank you for taking it on and going at it with aplomb, as they say. And in the future, I'm hoping that we can do a live version somewhere, right? Maybe it's one of the conservation groups, who knows? But I'd love to see it live. I loved to. Was that you, Brian? By the way, with the mask.
With the duck mask, yes, that was my star turn. Actually, I was there too as the owl at the end with the big fur hat. But yes, I was the duck man.
That was great. I know I would get a big kick out of seeing this live, and even doing a couple of bird calls myself. I learned a few of them, so And, you know, we can do different, it's flexible, right? We can do the tropical forbearance, the tropical version, or forbearance, the backyard birds version or something like that. So I kind of left it open in that way. So yeah, looking forward to a live performance someday soon, I hope. But thanks so much, Brian, for all of your hard work, and to the group. I'm very grateful.
Great. Well, you guys, we are all in the same city. I mean, other than right now, you're visiting your relatives.
Yeah.
So I am in Upper West Side. So let me know your future performances or your events. I would love to attend your project or performances or anything. Yeah. So it's been so great to talk to you, and thank you, Brian, for save our life, and thank you, Tamara, for gave us the link, and so it all worked out finally. Yeah. So yeah. So you guys be safe, and please, keep in touch, please.
Will
Okay.
do.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Ching, Brian.
Yeah.
Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you,
Thanks.
thank you, audience, to be with us, and we'll see you next time. I do this what is it called, a conversation with special someone every Wednesday, and then today we did it because Wednesday was the inauguration day, so we moved to today. But I do it every Wednesday for sure. Sometimes I add more sessions. So please check on me once in a while, Juhl Media. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.
So we're gonna